This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Tell everybody where you grew up.
Hi, I grew up in Inglewood, California. Right off Crenshaw, Manchester. I used to belong to the Inglewood family against the blood at one time, living a destructive life. You know, I had a mother, a father, cousins and aunties and uncles. We all lived in the same apartment building. Everybody was filled with love, you know what I'm saying? But outside that household, in the street life, you know what I'm saying? All I seen was destruction. All I seen was pain. You know, but I didn't understand that at that time as a youth, 7, 8 years old. I didn't understand that. I was actually attracted to that. I didn't understand why I was attracted to that lifestyle. You know, when I could go inside the house and be loved by my grandmother and be loved by my mother, my cousins and my uncles, my aunties, and even my stepfather, who took on a responsibility that he didn't even have to take. But I was attracted to a certain lifestyle that actually winded me up in this situation right now that I'm in, serving 62 with life without the possibility of parole.
Now, coming from a good household, what made you choose the street life?
Man, that is a very, very good question. And it took me decades, literally decades, and even come into incarceration to understand the insight of why I chose to join the gang. Because many people have different reasons to join the gang. Yeah, some people that had a family. Everybody in their family was gangbangers. Then you have those that had nobody in their family that was in the gang life. What makes a person want to go into a life of destruction? I had to ask myself. And it took me these self-help programs that I'm in now to find an insight to figure out why. And actually, I was looking for a father figure. Yes, I know I had a stepfather in my life who was actually a great man, but I was still looking for something else. He was out there working, so he couldn't give me the time that I needed to show me how to tie my tie or to talk to me for the advice that I needed to when I was having trouble at school or to guide me when I needed help because he was at work. And I'm not blaming him because, one, he took a responsibility that he didn't have to take. He loved me the best way he knew how to love me. And I feel like, especially us in the community that we living in today, we have to start learning how to have self-love. Because once we learn how to have self-love, then we have to learn how to love for other people. So to answer that, I was looking for a father figure, even though I had a father at home. So I looked to the streets.
Tell us about what was going on in your life just around the time you decided to make that jump. You know, I'm a join INGLEWOOD family. It's official now. What was going on in your personal life and how did you make that jump?
Well, you know, I grew up in Inglewood all my life. I went to Warren Lane Elementary. So either my friends, they had cousins or brothers who were involved in the gangs. And after school, we ditching or we going to my friend's house to, you know, to actually look at what I used to call the big homies that was on the block. So that fascinated me. So when they'd give me $1 or they'd give me some words of encouragement or they'd even acknowledge me, you know, because I was looking for that acknowledgement that I didn't have at that time from a male figure that I needed so much to be from. And I'm not blaming him. It's just that he didn't understand how to be that person in my life because of the condition that we face in our reality around us in our communities. Before I came out the porch, it happened in stages. And it was a number of things that was transpiring in my life. Because I think I'm growing up as a young adolescent. My brain's not fully developed. I'm learning different things that I think that I want. I really don't know what I want at this time of my life. I'm looking for somebody to give me that guidance, that male figure to give me that guidance. So I went to the streets. So therefore, it happened in stages. It was first hanging out. Then I'm going to the park. Then I'm going to the girl's house. I just want to go ditch. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then here come the initiation. But then after the initiation, everything else just flowed. Everything else became second nature. What I mean by that is like, okay, I lost the sense of self. What I mean by that is like once you start understanding the knowledge of self, then you understand that when God raises, he raises to be a human being, not to be like animals. But man, we have degenerated to become like animals. We start becoming like animals in human form. So once I joined the gang life, all the morals and the values and the principles that my grandmother, my mother, my stepfather, my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, they installed in me, eventually left. Walls started being built up. This new character that I was building became alive. And then the real me, which was Gregory, became how can I say it? He became a shadow. He became so much of a shadow that I didn't even realize who he was anymore. That when somebody called me Gregory, I got mad. I only wanted to be known as my gang name. I only knew who this person was. I forgot who Gregory was. So I had to learn how to get back to me, because once I lost so much of me in this gang life. Once I jumped off the porch, a little piece of Gregory started going away, and then a little more of tiny Bunchy started adding to my life. To where I no longer seen Gregory no more. It's like a game system. You know how when you're in a game, just say you are we'll say the god of the game, and you're creating this character. And the more you utilize this character, the more stronger you advance in your game, and the more stronger you will be. And the more I was advancing, I was picking up tools a part of his life to make me stronger in his lifestyle, which I became one of the best players.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
But it was destructive. That lifestyle meant nothing. It had no value. It had no substance. I was losing myself. I was becoming hollow. To where it took me decades to get to where I am now. And I still need to be better than I am now. I'm better than I was yesterday. And tomorrow I will be better than I am today.
What are the differences between Gregory and Bunchy?
Gregory understands the meaning of love. Bunchy didn't. Bunchy love was conditional. Only what people can do for him, or how far I can advance in whatever I'm trying to advance in. But Gregory understands the meaning of love. Gregory doesn't do things for a condition. If I'm doing something for my people or for the people, I don't care if I don't get a response out of it. I don't care if I don't get acknowledged for it. I don't care if they don't even appreciate me for it, because I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for the Creator first, and I'm doing it for my love for them. So Gregory understands the meaning of love. When you truly love yourself, you will start having knowledge of self. That will produce love for yourself. And if you love yourself, it will cause you to do things for yourself. So, and people understand the true meaning of love. And a lot of us don't understand the true meaning of love. Because the two top commandments: first, love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. And second, love your neighbor as you would do it to your neighbor as you would do it to yourself. So guess what? If we practice love, right, out of everything, we drop everything else. Let's get away with all the hard stuff, because we make it so hard, right? You know what I'm saying? If we just get away with everything and just practice love, right? I don't want nobody hitting me. I know, Dusty, you don't want nobody hitting you. You don't want nobody stealing from you. I don't want nobody stealing from me. So if I have love for myself, and if I do not want to do anything to nobody that I want done to myself, so guess what? I won't hurt nobody. I won't steal from nobody. And if we all just practice the definition of real love, then we wouldn't be caught up in these conditions that we're in right now.
Do you think the average gang member, person who grew up in the street, seeing what you've seen, do what you do you think that they suffer from some sort of PTSD?
Absolutely. I mean, and many more. I'm glad you spoke on that. I don't know what's going on with this. I want to see a cycle time just to evaluate myself, you know what I'm saying, get to understand myself a little bit more because I'm still in the process.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And one person said something crazy, that they said they feel like the kids that grew up in an environment where we grew up that's regular. How could that be regular, seeing somebody die at 7, 8 years old, and you think that's cool? How could an 8, 9-year-old think that's cool to hear gunshots? How could an 8 or 9-year-old smile when they hear gunshots or hear somebody got shot. So yes, of course, yes, we suffer from PTSD and many more.
Tell us about your thoughts when you found out that you would be serving life in prison. What were you going through mentally? Did it hit you right away? Talk to us about your life around that time.
Okay, at that time of my life, when they first initially said guilty, I was numb. I was still in a negative mindset that this is what it is. I was still caught up in that tiny Bunchy. I couldn't even see Gregory to even feel like what he felt like because I didn't feel. It got to a point to where I didn't even know myself, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. So I was numb. In my head, I thought, well, shit, this is the life. They gave me. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. I was just in that mindset. I was in the mindset that this is my life, but I had to get out that mindset. I couldn't let them beat me because they already beat me once and got me in here. So I had to get up out that mindset and know that I could still be of assistance for my community. I'm not who I was yesterday. I am Gregory. I'm not Tiny Bunchy, who they think I am.
When did you realize this ain't it? When did you go from Tiny Bunchy back to Gregory?
Ooh, I love that question. Ooh, I've been in jail for 21 years. I got locked up 2004 August. And this year, August, would be 21 years. Absolutely. So, and I didn't start realizing certain things until I would say 2000, I would say 18. But like I said, my growth is still growing, and I'm still in the process of changing. And I am better than I was yesterday. I didn't realize that until 2018. Why? Because I involved myself in these self-help programs. It didn't happen overnight. Like God works, He works in stages. So He's building me in stages. You know, it started with me going to these self-help programs, learning different things to understand myself. Now, I'm not sitting here on this podcast saying these things that you can just jump right through a hoop and then it's going to be, and everything's going to be peachy keen. It took me a process of tearing down the walls, of trying to stick on a light and try to find where Gregory's at. Then I had to get reacquainted with him because so many decades of me not seeing him anymore, of knowing who he is, I forgot who I was. I forgot my thoughts, my dreams, my aspirations, because Tiny Bunchy took over, and all I knew was this: okay, I'm gonna earn this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna obtain this, but guess what? In classes, I started going to the self-help programs, the e-learning, to learn how the sperm, how hard it's a struggle for the sperms to get to the ovum. You know, if a person understands how life and the stages of life to become a fetus, you'll start appreciating life more. So once I started going to these classes of cage of rage, which helped me with my anger, it's still everyday process, but I am way better than I was yesterday. I had to go through these cage of rage programs, these life without a crush programs, these prep organization programs, and then eventually, as I'm still going to these different groups, and then I'm learning. I'm like, damn, I see such and such from this gang that I used to be with. I see such and such from that gang I used to be with, and I'm like, these dudes is real, just like me. If they can come up in here and speak freely, without really worried about the ego, because that's all we worried about. A lot of us won't help. A lot of us want to change our lives, but a lot of us can't get past the ego because we worried about what another person think about us. So that's why I always go back to know thyself, learn self. Because once you understand self, you ain't gonna be worried about what such think about you. You ain't gonna be worried about what she think about you or what he think about you, because you gotta do for self because you love yourself. So after all these classes and these things, I couldn't help. Dusty, I lied to you not, Dusty. And the Bible said Jesus said he made the blind man see and the deaf man hear. Now I can see visually, but I understand what that means. Yeah, we can see, but we really didn't see. But now, once you see, you cannot not see no more. So now that I see the destruction, the pain, the agony that I caused in the community, I could never go back to that again. I could never go back to a destructive lifestyle again. This is why I tell each and every brother and sister out there to first get acquainted with yourself. Know yourself. Understand the meaning of love. And just those two right there is going to get you to where you need to be. Stay focused to remain focused and never deviate. And know that I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. We're perfect imperfection. And know that you might fall tomorrow, but you get back up and you push further again.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
You might fall again, but you get back up and you fall. Don't worry about what everybody else talking about. Worry about yourself. Get acquainted with yourself. Re-educate yourself. So I say educate yourself. 2018, that was my beginning of learning myself. And I'll tell you this, once you start being on the path of learning yourself, the God is going to put everybody to align to your purpose, your aim and your purpose. Because I met certain people that came into my life. I met people like Latanya Wood. She came out to life and she taught me how to love myself. I have my mother, my grandma, the one that I'm with now. And I couldn't love her properly if I didn't know how to love myself. So I tell each and every brother, if you want to get acquainted with yourself, you want to know who you really are, re-educate yourself. Get knowledge of self and learning the meaning of love. To the young brothers and sisters, I want to tell you this. Please, 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 please don't follow the footsteps that I'm in. And I'm speaking to those who are like how I used to think and worse. Because my whole aim and purpose is to get to you. Those who are how I thought and worse. Though we up in here together. No matter your enemies is up in here together, we chilling, we eating together, brother. Nobody is mad at nobody. Do not believe what they're saying on the internet. Do not believe what your homies is calling home and saying, because that's a lie. I'm telling you this from a personal experience. I've been here 21 years on this line, and I'm cool with rolling 60s. I'm cool with East Coasters. I'm cool with everybody who I thought was my enemy. Even the people that I heard names and those who have once heard my name. But I'll tell you, this is not no life for us, brothers and sisters. Do not come to this death hole. Leave that death culture alone. Be there for your families who really care about you. For your children. For your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, and your uncles. How can we say we love our mothers and our sisters and our uncles and our brothers and our children when we doing things to let other people take care of them? How could you protect your family and you up in here? So I say, do not follow my footsteps. For those that know me or know of me, do not follow my footsteps, brothers and sisters. You know, one of the biggest things I regret in life is being a bad influence. Because now that I understand that cause and effect, that's what hurts me the most. Why? 5 years ago, a young brother came to me, Dusty, and was like, man, Bunchy, man, when I used to see you walk down the street, and he told me my whole wardrobe, and I remember that. He told me what I did from left to right. And as this young brother is telling me this, it's really hurting my heart. Because in my mind, in his mind, he's thinking that he's telling me something to get some points for. That he mimicked me. This is everything that I did that he saw me do, he did. I don't even know this dude. I just met him in prison. Actually, when I was on the street, he was 9 years old. I left the streets at 19. I didn't even know a 9-year-old was watching me. This 9-year-old, right, is now 31, 32, or 29, 30, or something around there. And look at the cause and effect that I have on this person's life. You watching me So you're imitating me. So not only did I cause stress in your life, I caused stress in his mother's life, and his sister's life, and his auntie's life, and his grandma's life, and whoever he may have done something to. This got him wanting to be like me, and I didn't even know him. So I tell people, I say, the influencers, watch what you're doing, because you're always being watched. And just because you may not have done it, or not have told somebody to do it, but somebody's looking at you, trying to be just like you, imitating everything just like you. So you got to watch the influence that you are. So the biggest thing I regret in life was being a negative influence, because I don't know how many people I influenced to be negative. You know what I mean? And I caused pain and agony on his mother. You know what I'm saying? And his sister. Now the mother doesn't have a husband, or the child doesn't have a father to talk to, because he's in jail, mimicking what I've done. And I don't even know this guy. So my job now is not in no halls, no centers. My job is in the community. My job is to go to the streets and to spend the rest of my days as I'm living on this planet Earth to be able to build the community that I helped destroy. So now my obligation is to travel all across the world and beyond to be able to help all oppressed people who are just like me. All those who felt one way. So, I thank you, Dusty, because as I've been working on myself, as I've been grooming myself, because I wanted, for years, I said, how can I help the community out right now, even though I'm incarcerated? I said, what can I do in prison that can help somebody else out there that needs help? I didn't know, Dusty. I didn't know. So what I started doing, I started working on myself. Why? Because once I am physically free to travel across the planet Earth to be able to help all oppressed people across this planet, I can have the tools to be effective when I get out. So even though I might not be able to travel across the world as of right now, I'm building myself with education. I'm continuously in self-help programs. I'm in college now. I'm circling myself with people with like minds, so therefore I can stay in that magnetic field of positive energy. Why? Because once you're in that field of positive energy, you know what I'm saying, you will stay in that wave and you keep your full armor of God on. So nothing else can penetrate it. So
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I urge you, I impel you to do for self. That negative lifestyle, that destructive, that death culture that we was once involved in, that death culture that we was once involved in, is not a culture at all. I don't want to sound like the typical, it's going to leave you a death in jail, because it will. Because look at me, 62 LY, but they don't have life to give me. You know. But I say this to you brothers and sisters out there. If you don't know what your aim and your purpose is, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, study yourself. If you read every book, go back and study yourself. So that's what I'll say, man. Thank you, Justin.
Appreciate you sharing that, man. That was real deep. You said something very powerful in there that I would love to touch on. Explain how you had to adjust to going from riding on your enemy in the street, busting on the op, you know, and you see your op in the street, it's on and cracking, and now you're almost forced to live side by side peacefully, and I put peacefully in quotes, but you're forced to live side by side with them after them being longtime sworn enemies in the street. Can you break that down, especially to these kids out there?
Woo, man. At first, everybody on the street like, man, how can I stay in the jail? And I was like, man, how can I be next to a roll of 60? Now I'm next to a roll of 60 side by side, you know what I'm saying, doing what we need to do for our community. But it didn't take overnight. It took years of self-understanding, of realizing, like, hold on. This is not, they say this is my enemy, but we're in jail. We're eating together. We're cool. You know what I'm saying? Actually, stop faking. I'm telling people, stop lying to the people out there in the streets. The rappers, stop playing and stop lying, because you're destroying our community. You're destroying the brains and the minds of our youth. It took me a minute to adjust to the certain, but it was easy for me once I started learning self. Because once you start learning yourself, it gives you a confidence that you're not worried about what such and such talking about. I'm not worried what my homeboy over here talking about, because if he ain't talking about what I'm talking about, then he can get up out of here. See, once you understand yourself, you know what I'm saying, then it builds you up. You get a confidence where it looks like a little bit of arrogance. But it's not arrogance, you know what I'm saying? It's a confidence that you never had, you know what I'm saying, because you have self-love. And then you'll start realizing that those who say things bad about you when you know you're doing something positive or at least striving, they don't even know themselves. They're not even strong in themselves. I'm so strong, I don't care what they talk about, because they're not going to say it in your face. You will have a strength so built up and strong, you don't even know where. I don't know where the strength. My strength came from my Creator. I made Him my center. And once I made my Creator my center, everything else was easy. You know what I mean? I wasn't worried about what such and such talking about. I wasn't worried about what I look like when I'm talking to a Rolling 60 or East Coast or whatever, because nobody's going to say nothing to me in my face anyway. Start loving self and do for self. And I'm always big on knowledge of self, because I feel that once you understand yourself, you'll get acquainted with God a little bit more.
Any last words? And do you want to give any shout outs? But any last words, man, especially, you know, drop a little bit of game if you can for these last 2 minutes, and give any shout outs to anybody out there that you would like to.
Yes, I want to give a shout out to the first of the Creator for wanting to give me the opportunity and utilize me as a vessel. So therefore I can reach somebody out there that maybe I don't know or maybe know me. Thank you for answering the prayer that night that I ask you every night, that I could be of assistance to those that I may or may not know. I also want to give a shout out to my family, those who stuck by me through them dark days. I also want to give a shout out to the woman that I'm with right now for keeping me strong. And I want to also give a shout out to Latanya Ward also for showing me and giving me an understanding and giving me the understanding of the real meaning of how to love myself. Because if she didn't teach me how to love myself, I wouldn't be able to be properly of use for my community and for the woman that I'm with now. So, and then if the words that I would like to say, I would say to people, I'll say, find someone in your community that you can help. Or find someone you can do to add to someone's life. But make sure that whatever you have to offer won't hurt your pockets. If that someone does not appreciate that, then I want you to continue to do that. So whatever you can do to help your community or someone, but make sure it does not hurt your pockets to where if they don't appreciate it, you won't get mad at it. And I want you to practice that over and over and over and over again, and then over and over again. So with that said, I appreciate you, Dusty, for giving me this platform to be able to be of assistance to the building of the community. And you are a blessing. And I ask the Creator right now to send you a blessing right now to open up these doors